Hey everyone, welcome back to Norton Man Reviews. It's been a while, but I thought it was an appropriate time to get back into doing some other stuff. I will be finishing or continuing my Batman Long Halloween on the next holiday, Mother's Day, coming up, so watch out for that. But considering what has come out this weekend, the Thunderbolts, I thought this was going to be an appropriate comic to kind of talk about and showcase. So, while I'm going to be talking about these, I'm going to also be talking about that movie of Thunderbolts. So there will be a lot of spoilers for that movie while I'm talking about this. So if you haven't seen the movie and don't want to be surprised, now's your chance to go see the movie right now and then come back and watch the video. So there's we're looking at New Avengers issue 7, 8, 9, 10. 7, 8, 9, 10. There's four. My very, very first videos that I ever done on this YouTube channel was the New Avengers, number 1 through 6 by Bendis and David Finch, where after the Avengers were betrayed by Scarlet Witch, and it was the disassembled storyline, which I did look at later, Captain America and Iron Man formed a new team with Spider-Man, Spider-Woman, Wolverine, Luke Cage. Where's Luke Cage? He's there. Luke Cage. And there were some other people that kind of showed up during that storyline, which is the Sentry. The Avengers, Matt Murdock, Daredevil, he was actually part of that for a bit. And he was going down there to a prison to talk to this guy, Bob Reynolds, the Sentry, and he was sent there by Reed Richards. For whatever reason, we don't know, and we're going to kind of find out a little bit more in this. So after all the craziness that happened in those first 6 issues, and this new group of Avengers is now here, this is the next adventure storyline that was going on. So we're going to look at all 4 of these issues. We'll start with number 7, Avengers Sentry Part 1. Gives a recap there. Has some cool stuff. I think this is before the Iron Man movie came out. Iron Man came out in 2008. This came out in 2005. So you can see how like the interior of Iron Man's suit is portrayed, how it looks to Tony Stark, which is kind of cool, which they kind of did something similar in those. But here's Spider-Woman and Iron Man talking, and she's basically telling him that, hey, I'm part of the big ongoing storyline was a bunch of super criminals were busted out of prison, right? So now Spider-Woman is going to go try and find one of them. She's like, I'm going to take a team and go. Just giving you a heads up. She's like, awesome. So Iron Man is going somewhere, and he meets up with this group. Now, if you know, but this was the first introduction of the Marvel Illuminati. They have their own limited series that they had that kind of showed some of the stuff that these important figures in various parts of the Marvel Universe would get together and kind of discuss things for the greater good of the world, of the Marvel Universe world. So you got Doctor Strange, who's part of the mystical, Reed Richards, who is, the scientist guy, Charles Xavier for mutants, Black Bolt for the Inhumans, Namor for the Atlanteans, and then Iron Man, he's also scientist, Avenger, whatever. So these 6 guys. So this, does it give a time frame? I thought this was supposed to be like the day before or something. I don't know, whatever. So he's talking with them, and Brian Michael Bendis likes to give witty dialogue, so there's kind of some banter going back and forth about how they brought the New Avengers back together. Namor's being a little uppity son of a bitch about the whole thing. He's like, when are you going to tell us? He's like, it just happened yesterday. Just calm down. Kind of a funny moment here, because Namor keeps like, when were you going to tell us? He's like, does anyone know how to say just happened yesterday in Atlantean? And Reed Richards, while he's messing with like a Game Boy or whatever, he says whatever this, however you pronounce this, Fortanu Yazyama, which is, you know, the Atlantean thing, and they just kind of look at him funny. Funny little bit that shows like the connection that Reed Richards has with Namor. So again, more discussion about what happened with the new Avengers. There are a lot of words on here, but Brian Michael Bendis has a way of writing where it doesn't feel like you're reading a goddamn novel or a speech, and it's a lot of back and forth between people, and it's interesting. But for the sake of this video, I'm not going to go through everything. Xavier asks, "Are you rebuilding the mansion?" He's like, "No, but he's got a tower that he's going to make." So they discuss some other things. They talk about, hey, maybe we're supposed to split up super teams, put some in Chicago so not everyone is in New York. But they're like, yeah, that's a good idea, but that's not going to happen with this Avengers group. But then he says, like, we're going to talk about the Sentry. Do you know who of you knows who the Sentry is? Because we might have a big problem. So this is kind of an explanation of what the Sentry, who he is and what he's about. And it does differentiate quite a bit from that movie, Thunderbolts, that he was in. That's a spoiler, I guess. Like, most people know it. If you don't, then I don't know what to tell you. So we cut to this chick sunbathing and this humongous motherfucker here. He's Dirk Garthwaite. He'd like his stuff back. And this is a supervillain. He's one of the wrecking crew, I guess. And this woman's dad, this girl's dad, is like a collector of superhero or supervillain artifacts or whatever. So he has a bunch of stuff, and she mentions that he likes to play dress up and whatever. So this guy comes in and he finds this crowbar, and he's like, finally, he has it, so he's happy. Forgot to mention, the artist on this is Steve McNiven. This was the first thing that I had seen from this artist, and he goes on to... He's really good in this. I remember seeing this and liking it. I remember also kind of being disappointed that David Finch wasn't doing the interiors still, but he just did 6 issues. Needs a break. So they got Steve McNiven doing these issues. And he goes on to do Civil War and Old Man Logan, and he refines the stuff and just makes it a little bit better, but he's still extremely good here. Anyways, back to the story. You can see all this different shit here. Can we identify some of the stuff? That's from the Shocker, from Rhino, Kraven the Hunter. Not sure what that is. This looks like Scorpion. What is this? Mysterio? I don't know what some of this other stuff is. Anyways, finds this crowbar, which, from my understanding, is an enchanted crowbar from Asgard, or made with enchanted powers from Asgardian magic. Not sure by who. Someone can tell me. More just talk. He's being villainous, gonna kidnap her or whatever, but hell, shit. Here comes the new Avengers. Part of them. Spider-Man, Luke Cage, Wolverine, and Spider-Woman. And they're gonna start shit up. Fantastic Four. Old first movie. Alright, but this guy, he's no pushover. You know, he's got this fucking this crowbar, which gives him a lot of powers. Makes him pretty powerful. And at one point through here, he talks about how he, like, knocked out Thor. So that kind of tells you. So Wolverine, always the first to jump in, gets his ass fucking slapped to the side. Luke Cage coming in, left hook. This guy takes him and grabs him. Spider-Man jumps in the fray. Hits a tricycle over his head. It's kind of funny. Right hook. Trying to take out this guy. Throws Luke Cage into the Quinjet. Spider-Woman coming at him. Spider-Woman spewing all his goo all over him. He just flicks them away. Kicking some ass. Wolverine coming in hot. Slicing his ass. He's like, oh, that hurt. Luke Cage, get used to it. Still knocking Luke Cage away, crashing into an automobile. More fighting like this. These four are no slouches, right? Wolverine, Spider-Man, Luke Cage, Spider-Woman. They're some heavy hitters, but they're having a tough time with this motherfucker. And yeah, he's yelling at him like, I have the power of a god, and you're a mutant midget. So then he takes out everyone except Spider-Woman, and Steve McNiven took the opportunity right there. And he stops as he's looking at her. I really did like how you looked in that costume, Sweet Cakes. She's like, yeah, right back at you. Oh, boy. So, we're in the Nevada desert. This is Maria Hill with S.H.I.E.L.D. And they're coming in with Captain America and Iron Man, and they're going through a cave, and Cap and Iron Man are going to go first. And they find this guy, and this is the Sentry. This is Bob Reynolds. And Iron Man says, like, hey, we're the Avengers. We need to talk to you. And he's like, you got to leave. You got to go. He's coming. Who? The Void. And if you saw the movie, the Void is something that, you don't want to have to mess with. And then he starts freaking out. I had used my powers. I was there with you in the prison. I saved you and your friends. I shouldn't have. I was weak. And they're like, we don't understand. He's like, when I use my powers, I unleash a blackness upon the world. So whenever he thinks he uses his powers, he unleashes the Void also, which is, fucking dangerous. And they're like, Mr. Reynolds, we have someone here that you need to see. And he looks and he's like, wait, who is this? I do love all these shadows in this cave, the way he's portraying them there with the light. Really cool stuff here. And there's his wife. And she's like, I'm not dead. He's like, wait, what? No, like, I saw you die. You're supposed to be dead. I guess he thought his wife was dead. She's like, what's wrong with you? What's going on? And then they bring in one other guy here. And they bring this guy. And this is a comic book writer. He created the Sentry. And this is Paul Jenkins. And so the very first... So it says, this is Paul Jenkins, a comic book writer. He created the Sentry. So who the fuck are you? So, bit of a backstory, if you're not aware. The Sentry... Let's get a better... The Sentry had a limited series that was drawn, I think, by Jay Lee. And written by Paul Jenkins. And it was... I remember when all this happened years and years ago. It was like 20 plus years ago. Marvel was promoting this new character of the Sentry, and they were marketing it as Stan Lee's forgotten first character. Stan Lee's first characters he ever created, as far as I know, or Marvel's first comic book characters were the Fantastic Four. But apparently this was a character he kind of like wrote some stuff about or whatever, maybe a couple of sketches from a artist back then, and had forgotten about it, moved on. So he didn't do anything. He went on to the Fantastic Four. So they found these sketches and these notes, and it was the Sentry. So they're like, let's make the Sentry. Let's kind of show him to the world. All that was not a scam. It was a prank, I guess you could say. It wasn't real. Like, Stan Lee did not create the Sentry. He did not create him, way back in the 50s or 60s before the Fantastic Four. But they made it so that this character did live in that time period. And I think we're going to see that right here. So right here we have this section written by Paul Jenkins, art by Sal Buscema, and this old school kind of art with a Sentry in a different kind of outfit with his hood fighting Skrulls. And it's very much set up. The coloring is kind of different. It looks like this zip tone. I don't know. It's just the coloring is different from the rest. It looks like it's from that era. So you see Thor looking all goofy and kind of acting goofy as how they wrote the characters. And here's the Void as kind of a generic villain who was like, would be the main villain of the Sentry guy. And so it's just having a little kind of a conflict in this old style comic book. And that is a comic book that they're reading. This is something that Paul Jenkins would have written. And that's what he's saying here. This is a comic book. This is the only mention of the Sentry that they could find of being here in the comic books. It's gonna explain what happened here, but I can't remember what happened in that miniseries and what the ultimate story was. But he had a lot of adventures with Hulk, Fantastic Four, Spider-Man, bunch of those characters back in that day. But now he's here and what's going on with him. So he's freaking out about this revelation that he's in a comic book. Paul Jenkins is freaking out about seeing a person he created in reality. Like I make my own comics, my Comic Bliss. If I saw her in real life, she was just projected in front of me or appeared, I'd be freaking out too. In a good way. So they're like, we're confused and we need to figure out who the Sentry is. And, you need to help us help you, kind of a thing. So we're on the Shield Helicarrier 1 week ago. Iron Man and Wolverine are having a conversation. He's trying to convince Wolverine to join the team. And I think let's see. Timeline-wise, this conversation with the Illuminati would have to have happened around that same time. Because he's saying that the formation of the New Avengers just happened yesterday. This happened right after it. So it's about a week ago that this conversation happened. Also, right? Anyways, Wolverine doesn't want to join. He's like, I got the X-Men. I got promises. I can't do this. And he's talking about... They also mention that Wolverine has had some problems where he was brainwashed by Hydra, and he went on a murder spree, and basically the entire Marvel Universe had to stop him. So he's not in a good place, but they're like, yeah, but being part of the Avengers and standing next to Captain America can help your image. So back and forth talking, trying to convince him, no, I don't want to do it. Yeah, but you should. But well, I don't know. But then they bribe him, I guess, with money. So now we're back at Long Island with Wolverine, Spider-Man, and Luke Cage fighting, and Spider-Woman fighting motherfucker for whatever his name is, the Crowbar Man. So here he is with Spider-Woman. He's about ready. He pounded everyone else. Now he wants to pound ass on her, and he took again the opportunity. But he's not. He's kind of had stopped, and they're talking. He's like, I'm gonna get out of here, and there's nothing you can do. She's like, yeah, then what? Some back and forth. She's like, I don't want to fight you. I want to help you. I just want to help you. So that gives the guy pause. Meanwhile, back in Arizona, more stuff with the Sentries, freaking out, trying to figure out what's going on. His wife is there. He's freaking out because he saw her dead, and he's trying to... I think he thinks he killed her, or the Void killed her, and the Void and the Sentry are one and the same. But now he's getting more and more upset. He freaks out, and very similar to what happened in Thunderbolt, when he freaks out and he gets angry, there's not a lot people can do. So I don't know. There's not an explosion or just like a bright light. But the Sentries. Wait, what happened here? Yeah, the Sentry's gone. The writer fainted. So Paul Jenkins fainted. And now here he is in a home, walking through. There's a dog. What is going on? I don't know. Does anyone know? I don't think you're supposed to know. Back with Spider-Woman, talking this guy down, making sure, showing her ass to everybody. And this guy is calming down, and he's like, oh, he's not like being violent, and he's like, it is nice to be asked, to be helped. It's like, okay, good, because it's time. Yeah, for what? He's all happy. And she's like, this, and I sincerely hope it hurts you, tubby. And here comes motherfucking Wolverine, coming in hot, slicing his back up. She picks up his enchanting crowbar, beats him over the head with it right here. Just bam! And then here comes Luke Cage. He gets it. He takes a whack at him. Baseball home runs him into Spider-Man's webs. It's like, well, cool, we almost got that right. But immediately, Wolverine is confronting Spider-Woman. He's like, all right, wait a minute. You got to tell us what you did. We'll spill it. She's like, what? What did you do to him? She's like, I just talked him down. He's like, yeah, whatever. Fess up. I can feel something. Wolverine can smell that there's something going on. And so this is kind of a revelation that she tells them. Spider-Woman has been around for a while, and I don't know what all her powers are, but I guess this is a new power they create here, where she can release a pheromone when I get nervous or charged up. I release a pheromone, and like anything around me is attracted to me. Just a chemical thing. And these three dudes are just like looking at her. She's kind of embarrassed. And then they're like, you release a pheromone? Well, that explains it. Like, Luke Cage's like, I thought I was going nuts. Wolverine's like, you know how dizzy I was getting around you? And Spider-Man's like, I mean, I love my wife, but Jesus. Like, they were all like, just like lusting after her, like silently. Iron Man pops in. He's like, hey guys, you got that covered? Okay, we need your help with a new issue. I'm like, okay, so S.H.I.E.L.D. is going to take care of a wrecking crew guy. What is his name? Crowbar Man? I don't fucking forget. So here's Bob. He's watching TV somewhere. And then there's White Queen, or this blonde woman. That's White Queen. She's talking to him through the television. But it's a psychic projection in your head. She's like, I'm trying to make this easy for you. And make what easy for you? She's like, I need you to come outside. So he comes out of this house or wherever he was, and oh my God, who the fuck do we have here? Roll call. Let's take a look. See if we can identify everyone. There's Namor. There's S.H.I.E.L.D. people. Thing. Invisible Woman. Mr. Fantastic. Human Torch. Spider-Woman. Iron Man. Wolverine. Luke Cage. Captain America. Spider-Man. Hot as fuck White Queen. Cyclops. Kitty Pryde. Colossus. Beast. Doctor Strange. Black Bolt. Medusa. And Inhuman guys. I forget. One of these is, there's Lockjaw, Trigon, Karnak. What are their names? I forget these two's names. Inhumans. And then he's like, oh no, shit. Like, you have to look what you've done. He's coming. I told you, but you wouldn't let me. He was waiting for you. And like all this goo is back here starting to come up. And he's like, what are you talking about? Who? And it's like, the Void. He's here now. There's nothing you can do to stop it. And I'm like, oh shit. So that was issue part 2. So we go on to the next issue. Cool. Another cool cover. These are all cool covers by David Finch. I'm supposed to have a Marvel art of David Finch art book from Kickstarter. I need to look into that. Anyways, Sentry front and center. New Avengers back there. So yesterday, I thought it was yesterday. Now I'm confused. Anyways, this was yesterday. Why couldn't they put this yesterday? Anyways, talk with the Illuminati. And it's like, you know who Sentry is? Bob Reynolds? And they're like, who? No, none of us know who that is. And he's like, Bob Reynolds, the Sentry. And he's looking at Reed Richards like, what? He's like, do you want to fill us in? He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. He's like, last week you sent Matt Murdock to the Raft prison facility to look into his cage for you. He's like, I did? He's like, what are you talking about? You didn't? He's like, I don't know who that is. So yeah, in those issues with Daredevil, Matt Murdock, he went down and he said, yeah, Reed Richards sent me here. But Reed Richards like, no, I didn't do that. So again, he's trying to tell him, like, it's big guy with a gold and yellow and blue uniform, high level power. He says he asked S.H.I.E.L.D. to toss him in a cell because he killed his wife, but his wife's alive. You asked Matt Murdock. He's like, I haven't talked to Matt Murdock in months. He's like, I'm not trying to be an asshole. I just really don't know what you're talking about. He's like, I'm so confused. So he's like, well, let me look at my, check my files. He logs into his Game Boy here. And while he's doing this, it says there's 1,233 files located. He's like, that's odd. And Professor Xavier here, he's like, Doctor, if I may, I think someone has tampered with your mind without your permission. It's like, oh, okay, what? So we're back here, and this black goo is coming around everybody, and they're like, uh-oh, and it just starts fucking ripping into these guys. Cool shot. Must be a pain in the ass to draw all these guys like this. So the heroes are fighting. Bob Reynolds is trying to figure out what is going on. And then someone says, we're going to stop this now. And there's hot as fuck White Queen with Reed Richards. He's like, we're going to stop this, but we need your help. And they tell him, you can stop this. But he's like, but it's not me, it's the Void. It wasn't me, it was the Void. And now the Void has taken this fucking crazy demon fiery thing form. He's like, again, they're trying to convince him what's going on. And it's like, how do you know this? And they show him this fucking space age monitor here. It's like, you told me. And it's this message that Bob Reynolds wrote to himself. Lots of information here. I read this, and there's a lot to go over. I'm going to try to sum up as best I can. He's like, I know you don't remember this, but I need you to know. Talks about how he has these cycles where he goes through, where his memories jumble and churn together. And where he knows who he is, and then it's gone suddenly. And he's just some dipshit, like, sitting in front of a TV. But it's like, I know that I am the Void, and I am the Sentry. But why am I the Void? What have I done? Created something to punish myself for trying to be the Sentry. So they're trying to figure out, he's trying to convince him of who he actually is. But he's telling himself that you need to fix this, and if you can't fix this, then you need to, like, kill yourself, like, be put into the negative zone, or be sent into the, like, thrown into create the Skrull Empire, or put an ultimate nullifier to his head and just kill him. But he's like, I just wanted to be a hero. I really did. I love my wife. I hope I didn't do anything too bad. But there's a fucking form of the Void just going apeshit on everyone. He's like, okay, well, I'll do whatever I need to do. What do I need? And hot as fuck White Queen, she's like, just open your mind to me. So she unlocks a bunch of memories that he has. This must have been a pain in the ass to draw, too. There is wedding with his wife. This is going to be a thing that we'll see. The Hulk being happy. hanging out with Spider-Man, having drinks with Tony Stark. Again, more words. There's a lot of dialogue going on here. So she's like, we need to isolate the origin of how you became the Sentry through all these memories, and we might be able to pinpoint where that started. So it's like, you just need to concentrate with me, okay? So we go through some of this old school kind of art where it's kind of the origin, where he takes this like, gosh, this must be the professor's secret formula. Has he done it? Has he discovered the secret of life? And he drinks it, and that's how he becomes the Sentry. He's like, but why does it look like this? She's wondering. And there he is, another version of the Sentry. I was given these powers of 1,000 exploding suns. I will stand for humanity's hope. But then she, like, points one of these memories out. She's like, okay, look at that, though. And she's looking really close. And there's a memory that he just recently had. She's like, this was today. I think so. Comic book, she says. And she finds another one that's just this black screen. And she's like, there's something we're not supposed to see. It's like, this might feel weird. She jams her fucking fingers his black void. It freaks him out. And they go into this memory, and it's his point of view as he's looking up. He's lying on a table, and there's a couple of guys here talking about him. And he's like, I think it's done. It's like, how do you know? It's what you hired me for. Just like that, it's done. The Sentry is no more. And he's like, who is that? And this guy is Jason Wingard, Mastermind, Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, old school. She was with him, on the Hellfire Club too, right? He fucked with the Phoenix powers to make her, like, fuck with her mind, so he did it to him too. There's a tremendous mental force holding his powers together, but it's his mind that holds his solar powers together. And that's how we make this work. My mutant power, simply put, I can make him see, feel, smell, whatever I want, and I gotta tell you, I have found that the stronger the mind, the easier the powers work on them. You think it'd be the other way around, and that's kind of like what happened to Phoenix. She's like, well, who's the other guy, Bob? It's this guy in this, like, military hat. And this guy's like, this is the greatest achievement of my life. It's like, who is this? So it was Mastermind, apparently, who blocked reality. No, he blocked them. He fucked with his mind and blocked his memories, and his power somehow manifested itself to the entire world, so it seemed like no one remembered of who he was. Not only will he never remember the Sentry, but he'll make it so no one remembers the Sentry. He'll be scared to use his powers. He'll think the world will be attacked by the devil if he does. And again, they're like, who the fuck is this guy? He's like, the catch is, though, like, I have to warn you that no one will remember this, not even you. No one will know that it was you that beat him. He's like, it doesn't matter. All that matters is that I beat him mentally and physically. I don't need people to know. I just beat him. That's enough. And so he gets upset and he runs away. He's like, Bob, it's not your fault. Come back here. Something, boom, she reacts, and uh-oh. Because he says you had no right, and then the void out here is freaking out. You had no right, and he's just going crazy on the fucking heroes out here. And I think they're protected. Let me look back here. Okay, so I think these three are inside this bubble, protected as everything's going on out and around them. So yeah, now he's like trying to get at them inside, I guess. that's the end of that issue. Fourth and final issue. Thank you for sticking with me. We're in S.H.I.E.L.D. helicarrier, and here's his wife, and there's Paul Jenkins. He's staring at her. He's like, oh my God, you're real. You're another character I created. She's like, stop looking at me. But then something happens to her. She just, like, falls over, passes out. And he's like, someone help? Paul Jenkins. It's funny. And, okay, so now Lindy, the wife, is in here, and White Queen, like, sucked her brain, like, not her brain in, but kind of, like, brought her mind over and made her a part of this. This is a lot of same shit that happened in that Thunderbolts movie, right? Like psychic healing each other and stopping the Sentry and Bob, or helping him stop the Void. So, yeah, more dialogue about what's going on, explaining it to her, going on outside, the Void still freaking the fuck out. So I think Invisible Woman, Doctor Strange, and Iron Man are projecting this force field to protect them. Seems about right. So they're like, we need your help to help Bob to stop the fucking Void. So just concentrate. And they pluck out a memory of the two of them together, and it's the kind of the first time that they fall in love. They're on this this beach, looking out at this night sky, the full moon. They're young, and she's like, "How many?" It's just a nice little moment between the two of them, and she's like, "How many people have you brought out here?" It's like, what? And he says, like, no one. I've always liked this spot. And as soon as I saw it, I knew it, that I wanted to bring you here. It's like, so there. And she just basically falls in love with him and is looking at him and just grabs him. And they have, like, this tender moment. Like, that's their most private, happy moment when they fell in love. It's just, and they're, she's watching it. He's watching it here on the screen. He's like, that was a great day. Hot as fuck White Queen's like, looks like it. So again, trying to convince him to get through this. You're the only one that can stop this. And then the Void outside stops moving. So Captain America tells everyone to cease fire and stop it. And that's creepy. It's just looking down at them. So they're making progress inside his head. And then they find this comic book, and it's the Sentry and the X-Men take on the crazed general. And this must be the guy, this dude here, one of another random villains who found a way with Mastermind to block out, to erase the Sentry from existence, basically. It's like, this guy must have really had it in for me. Well, he got you, but do you know where he is? He's like, no, I'll find him, though. And again, just more talking. You can do it. You have a strong mind. You're the only one. What happened to you isn't fair. You can be a good person. Basically, is the sum up of this long conversation. So they get out of his mind, and I guess the fucking Void just disappeared. And what they're going to do here is they're going to bring the Sentry back, but they're not going to, undo what he did and make everyone remember. It's basically like a new homecoming for him. Like, so no one will remember his past, but he'll be able to be a hero. He'll be able to be an Avenger. And he, they get into his head and they concentrate and they unlock something, and then boom, there he is. There's the Sentry in all his magnificence. And there he is as a hero, reunited with his wife, who was not dead, who he thought was dead. And they get a message from Jarvis. He's like, sir, you need to see something. And there's Avengers Tower, and there's this crazy fucking whatever this is. And I'm like, what the fuck is that? He's like, it's the Watchtower. It's my home. Like, I must have removed that from existence, too. I was hiding it as part of the thing with my fucked up mind. And he's like, it's right on our goddamn tower. It's like that. No wonder I got it for cheap. So, Sentry's back. He's a main character, and that was a brief rundown of his origin, an explanation of who he is. So he was a character from back in the day. He ran around in the beginnings of the Marvel Universe, but a villain had it in for him, and he got some mastermind to basically, I don't know, shroud his memories and his mind, and in turn, he with his powers, whatever they are, caused the whole world to forget him. How he got these powers, I'm not 100% sure. In the movie, he, you know, Valentina Allegra de Fontaine, just was experimenting on somebody with the Sentry program, and it eventually worked on Bob. So the movie portrayed pretty accurately the seriousness, the power of the Sentry, and the danger of the Void. And in the movie, again, spoilers, at the end, he basically had to shut everything down. He can't be the Sentry because then the Void will come back. And that's kind of what happens with the comics as they move on. And it ultimately culminates several issues down the road. The Sentry is kind of controlled by Green Goblin, Norman Osborn, who takes over S.H.I.E.L.D. helicarriers, the whole thing with it being the Dark Avengers and everything. But it has a little epilogue here with the Illuminati getting together again, talking about this situation. Xavier's absent for some reason. I don't know why. But then they're asking about, hey, do we need to know what happened in the Savage Land that was happening in the first 6 issues? And he's like, no, you don't need to know about anything about that. And he's trying to keep shit that happened from there a secret. So this is just a little epilogue, has nothing to do with the rest. But here it is, with the Thunderbolts being out, with the Sentry being part of that. I wanted to showcase something with him. And then again, spoilers, the Thunderbolts are no longer the Thunderbolts. They are the new Avengers. That's what they're called. And so I thought it appropriate to have a new Avengers with the Sentry video. Thank you for watching this 43 minutes. Thank you for staying with me. What do you think of that Thunderbolts movie? What did you think of this storyline? It's not a lot happened, really. There was just a lot of, like, explaining mental conditions and finding your true self kind of shit. But good stuff. Steve McNiven, good artist. Brian Michael Bendis, great writer. And that's it. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.